Hey everybody, it is Billy with your 90-day challenge update for the week. Let's get right to it. On Monday, the reading was from John chapter 9. Great chapter, great story actually about a man born blind. Jesus heals him, and he's just got a lot to say, and he's brought in front of the Pharisees who are asking him a lot of questions about who this Jesus is and how in the world does he heal you. And the man just has a lot of great answers. And even though he doesn't know Jesus before this day, he just knows he was blind that morning, and in the evening he can see. And a lot of times we don't need to know everything about Scripture before we can give someone an answer. What we can say is to tell our story, to say, I was blind, but now I see. I was lost, but now I'm found. I was a hateful person, and now I know how to love, and it doesn't even come from within me, but it just is flowing out of me. So don't be afraid to tell your story in the place of just knowing all the answers about Scripture. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday readings were from Acts 21, 22. What was really interesting to me is, like in Acts chapter 21, Luke gives so many details. Luke is the author of Acts 21. And I don't know if you noticed it, it's hard to catch, but it was in Acts chapter 16 that the pronoun went from they to we, because that's when the disciples, particularly Paul, picked up Luke and brought him along, and then Luke began to just find out the stories. And so it's a very historical book, and just the level of detail ratchets up a few notches once you hit Acts chapter 16, because that's when Luke is actually with Paul and the group of the apostles who are going around the missionary journeys of Paul. It's just kind of a cool detail there. In Acts chapter 22, Paul's journey continues. He's captured there, and a lot of the rest of the story of Acts is Paul's being a prisoner and making his journey to Rome, where he writes a lot of the New Testament at that point. Friday reading is in Psalm chapter 91. We don't actually know who wrote Psalm 91. Historically, it's most likely attributed to Moses, but it could be David or someone else as well. I would recommend this psalm to anyone who ever is in harm's way, anyone who's ever afraid of the future, afraid of their circumstances, just surrounded by evil perhaps. And because this psalm is a psalm of hope, trust, confidence, so many promises of God contained in this psalm. I would even recommend memorizing this psalm. If you're going to memorize one psalm, I would start with Psalm 23, but then Psalm 91 is a great one as well. Just a couple of announcements. We have the craft show. It's always a good time. We have a lot of volunteers. If you still want to volunteer today, contact somebody at the church office, or just show up and say, put me to work. That is Friday, Saturday of this week. Christmas Eve is coming up. Make your holiday plans to be with us at 4 and 6 p.m. We have 2 services this year. They're identical, and it's going to be a blast. We've been putting a lot of planning into these services. It's going to be a great service. The 25th falls on a Sunday this year. We will be having normal services, normal times, but it is a family service, which means everyone will be in there together. It'll be a shorter than normal service. We're looking at probably around 35 minutes total, and I'll be teaching a little bit from the Polar Express, singing a lot more Christmas songs. It's going to be great. Also, remember the Go offering, which will be taken on December 18 this year. The Go offering is to help raise funds for the $272,000 we plan to spend in 2017 on ministries outside of the walls of New Life. So a lot of the ministries that take place inside of our walls, children's ministry, youth ministry, and all that is roughly 3/4 of our budget. But then about 1/4 of our budget goes to these causes that take place outside of our walls, and we think that's very important. This is higher than an average number for a church our size, and we take pride in that, and we celebrate that God is able to use us to reach out into our community with so many different endeavors there. So we invite you to take part in that. December 18th, our Go offering will be taken. Hope to see you this weekend at the craft show. If not, we'll see you Sunday as I start a new series called One Christmas this Sunday morning. God bless.